Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Now we are going to go ahead and update this library here. It's been over 2 months, which is very unfortunate. However, there hasn't been much changes. For example, with UIkit, we're only behind by one patch release, and I haven't seen much changes in the library since this point here. And in addition to that, Nuxt does have a significant amount of changes because they do a weekly uh, release schedule. Their schedule is weekly. So there is some amount, but not significant that we need to definitely that we have to like change. One of the reasons for my absence as well is because I've been extremely busy really working on Fedora.com, well, the backend side of stuff. So as a result of that, I haven't really been available to make any videos, but I really don't want to abandon the channel as I've mentioned probably a couple times before. So we're gonna go ahead and do an update to this, and hopefully we can do some additional stuff moving forward. I want to actually add an example uh, directory in here where we have some example of projects with this library. So that's something that you can look forward to. So I'm going to go over to the terminal here and I'm going to cd into develop, and we are going to clone this here. I'm going to use SSH because I prefer to use that. So I'm going to do a git clone, and it's git at github.com and colon the org and the repository .git, and that's correct. So let's go ahead and grab that down, and we're going to cd now into Nuxt UIkit, and we can go ahead and do a yarn to do the yarn installation so we can get everything up to date. All right, perfect. So now that that is done, what I like to do is to go ahead and actually serve the playground environment so that we can see what we have previously. So let's just go to localhost. I believe this is 3000 here. And I guess we can go ahead and get the compatibility date or ignore it. All right, so over here we can see that our notifications are working perfectly. We're getting the icon, and in addition to that, we're also getting that nav bar that off canvas that you just saw there. Additionally, we have our icons. Everything is working as expected. This is running pretty fast, so that's 1.6 seconds there. So that's awesome. And everything is working as expected. We're getting our icons, our fonts. As you can see, the card is working. Everything is working as intended with our library in the playground. So we are good to go from there. I am going to get that compatibility layer in. I'm going to stop this as well. So we know that we have a little bit of change right now. So if I check the status, I'm going to just bring this over a little bit more. So if I check the status, there you can see that we have a change. I'm going to go ahead and commit this change here. And this is just a chore. And well, this is a playground. So let's go ahead and scope that and add compatibility. Date. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. And from here, what we can do is to go ahead and do a branch. So I'm gonna go ahead and just create a new branch. I prefer to use switch. So I'll just go ahead and use switch, and this will be our update depths. And from here, I'll just go ahead and yarn outdated. I want to check what's outdated. We already know the primary stuff, so that's UIkit and Nuxt. Those are outdated primarily. So you can see here we're at one major release back behind, and for UIkit it's a patch release. So I'm gonna just draw this over a little bit more, and from here I am going to do a yarn add because this is how I prefer to go about doing it. We can just add UIkit type script and Nuxt /testutils, and these are our patch releases that we have. So we just want to do them in sequence. We only have one major release here, and I don't think it's something that we have to really worry too much about, given that this is just a dev dependency that, well, it shouldn't break much, I would think, but it's something that definitely should be reviewed prior to even going about doing this. And I'm actually going to copy this and open it, since meanwhile that is working there. Paste that in. All right, that's finished, but I'm just going to look at what would have changed over here, because I think that is significant to do. Where did the break happen? From 5 to 7. All right, so it says it's a breaking change, but I'm not seeing. I guess I would have to look into this some more. However, it doesn't seem like it's something that's like highly significant. But we couldn't look at the changes, though. But I remember the last change, there was a breaking change and we had updated to that already. All right, so my terminal wraps from time to time. I need to fix that. But for now, we can leave that as is, already in depth. Oh, all right, let's see if those would have changed. So let's open the package.json file. And we had updated this here, and also TypeScript. It was complaining a little bit about some stuff, but it's not much that we have to worry about. In addition to the test utils, I believe those were what we would have changed here. For all right, there we go. So we're in sync. So we can move on to, well, technical. I guess we could commit these, but I'm gonna leave them for now, and we're going to go ahead and do the yarn update again, and then do the minor releases. All right, so we're gonna do a yarn add, and being lazy, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy these. All right, so as mentioned before, my terminal wraps. So as you can see, all of them should be printed properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on enter to have those installed. Let me just drag this back over a bit. All right, so we're all set. So these are installed. We can just do a double check here. For Nux, we are looking at 3.14.159. So we know that we have those updated, and now we can go ahead and do a yarn dev again and check it out in the browser to ensure that everything is still working as expected. I do not expect anything to change, given that these are all minor updates, patch and minor updates. All right, awesome. So as you can see, off canvas, our notifications, our icons are showing. The time is pretty much the same because this should be cached. So that's awesome. So the card still showing as expected. Everything looks perfectly fine. And from here, we can stop this now. And I am going to commit these because I prefer to do that. So let's go ahead and do a commit to the message. And we're going to say that we bump depths. And that is pretty much all I'm going to say in here. Well, I'm going to actually amend this here, and we actually bump minor, well, patch plus minor. Why can I not type patch plus minor release steps? All right, that's much better. There we go. So I prefer to have that just to be more descriptive. And from here, we can go ahead and do our yarn outdated again. And we already know that this is our ESLint that we're going to be updating now because this is only minor, major, I should say, update that should be made. So let's go ahead and do a yarn add and we can paste that in there. All right, awesome. So we have that now installed, and we can do our yarn outdated again just to show that that is the case. We just bring this over a bit. All right, so everything is done. Now we can do our yarn dev just to verify that everything still works as expected in the playground. Perfect. So our off cam, our notifications, our icon still shows, card, everything, typography, all of that. And as you can see here, still caching. So always gonna be fast, pretty much. All right, so now that we have that, we can go ahead and commit this chain. So I'm gonna go ahead and add all and commit this here. Why did that happen? Sure. Okay. Major depths, and there we go. Perfect. So at this point, we can move into our docs directory, and I'm gonna run the docs just to ensure that everything, well, I need to install, do I? Yeah. Let's go ahead and do a yarn install. All right, perfect. So now that we are installed, we can go ahead and do our yarn dev, and it should be running on the same port here. So it's gonna go ahead and refresh. One thing that you would notice here is that we have to be doing multiple installs pretty much for the same package. And personally, I would like to change that. What I would like to do is actually turn this into a monorepo where we only have probably just one package at JSON managing everything, both for the examples, the docs directory, and for the main library itself. And that's how I probably want to move going forward, and also change from using yarn to PNPM or something, I guess, more performant. But for now, we're just going to leave it as is, but that's something that I've been thinking about quite a lot. So I think that should happen very soon. Compatibility here as well. I'm gonna ignore that for now, or not. We're gonna keep it. But let's go ahead and finish this up. Well, it's added. So let's go. It's gonna refresh because I accidentally added it. So, all right, perfect. So let's just drag this over so we can see that better. So there we go. Our documentation for the library. Um, Everything looks good. Okay. So everything looks good on there. So let's go ahead and close that out. Let's see what we have outdated here. All right, so a patch release and Nuxt is minor. Well, yeah, Nuxt is minor release. So let's go ahead and do a yarn add, and I'm gonna go ahead and add both of them at the same time because we are almost certain that we shouldn't have to worry too much about anything breaking here. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead, and since those are installed, we can go ahead and do a yarn dev again. All right, so as we can see here, everything seems to still be working as expected here. Our basic docs, or programmatic usage, dev tools. Again, this is also included in, you can use this in the dev tools as well. You can get to the documentation, and it's one of our examples. As mentioned earlier, I want to have that here. So this example here, in addition to others that I'm thinking about as well, and everything here still works as expected. So let's go ahead and do some commits for the change that we've just made. So let's do a git status, and it's two things. So the first one that I want to do is I want to add the Nux config, and we can go ahead and commit this. So sure, this is set compatibility date, and the next thing now is just the bumping of the dependencies. Just go ahead and do that. So this would be, well, before I do that, let's check this back. I'm gonna amend this because I didn't scope it properly, and I prefer to do that. So this is the docs, so we know exactly what that was set for. And next thing that I want to do now is to actually go ahead and, well, commit these. Sure. And here we just bump Nuxt and Dockers. So that's pretty much it for this here now. So we're all set. The only thing that's remaining is for us to actually release this here. So I'm gonna go ahead and check out the main branch again. And from here we can just do a git merge, and we can merge the update depths, and this is going to be fast forwarded because everything was pretty much already aligned. And from here we can go ahead and do a release. We could also do it, we're going to also do an automatic test on this here. Before I do that, I think I need to unset something in here that's going to give me some issues. So node options, and then we can, all right, I missed something. I missed an actual crucial step to this. I'm going to switch back to update depths. I actually missed a crucial step. When we did the yarn install, when we installed UIkit, there was one additional thing that should have been done. Let's go over to the package.json so I can show you exactly. And not in here, but up in here. There was one additional step that I had missed, and that's the yarn UIkit to ensure that we copy over the new JS files. So what I have to do now is just to go ahead and do a yarn UIkit, and you can see it runs pretty fast. So if we go over here now, and I'm gonna just search for it, we can see now that we're at 2113. So perfect. So we're all set now. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and just commit these changes. So I'm gonna say sure, and we copied the UIkit JS files. All right, perfect. So now we can check out. I don't like this keyboard. All right, there we go. And we can go ahead and do the merge again. So git merge main. Oh, main. All right. Already up to date. Let's see if that's the case. Because this is still saying 12, and we made a change. I guess it's not checking for something. So we could actually just go ahead and do a yarn UIkit from here, and if we do a git status, let's see what we'll get. Okay, so it still goes over. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just recommit the same thing. I don't think we have to worry too much about that. So that's all set now. So at this point, we can go ahead and release. Let's go ahead and do a yarn release. Everything is automatically configured. However, I may have to open a new, should have to open a new browser for this. So you can see it's gonna go ahead and run a v-test to ensure that our icons and stuff are there as expected, because that's one of the primary issues that I had previously, why this library was actually created in the first place. So when I ensure that those are, everything is working as expected, and then it's gonna go ahead and do a release and also publish to npm and push to git, which is an update that I want to make. So I want to just push it to git, and then it does the an action that will push it to npm soon enough. All right, so we have an error here. All right, so our test just failed. Just run it directly. Yarn test with one of the updates, with probably the happy DOM or the v-test utils that we would have updated just now. It has something to do with fetching some amount of course issue, as you can obviously see here, and I would prefer to look into this at some other point. So I'm gonna just switch the way in which this occurs. I'm gonna this is the basic test. So this is one way for us to get the HTML here, but we can also get it via an element or so. So we're just checking if it contains this, so that we can be sure that we're getting the canvas here. But we should be able to do the same thing over here. So what I'm gonna do is, what are we mounting? Let me just double check what we're mounting again. So we're mounting app, and app is coming from here. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna go in here, and the off canvas is right here. So this is the H1 that we're looking for. So I'm gonna just go ahead and add an ID in here, and then we just grab this element instead. So off canvas title, and this should be fine. So I'll save that, go back up, and instead of doing the fetch, we're gonna remove this. I'm gonna copy that down, and then we can say this is the off canvas title element, and this was off canvas title, and then we just check the truthy of it as well. So off canvas title element, and we just check if it exists, and it's the same thing that we're doing here. So we just put that comment there, and we can now remove this for now. But I definitely want to look back into that issue, but this is just an alternative to doing so, because I don't really want to have to think about that right now. All right, so that should be it. Let's go ahead and save this here, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the yarn test again. All right. All right, perfect. So everything is all passing as expected. So just switching the way in which we go about identifying whether or not the element is on the page, and obviously you can see, since the test would have passed, that it is true. We found it. So I'm gonna go ahead and commit this change now. Let's check the status here. So this should be git commit, and we refactored this here, and pretty much what we did was change how canvas title check is done. All right, there we go. So that's pretty much it for that. Now we can go ahead and do a yarn release, and this should go ahead and run the test again, do some amount of linting, and then we'll go about doing the final while publishing into GitHub. So what I don't like about this error is that it's so vague. I'm not sure. So I can see where it's coming from, but it's so vague, so I'm not even sure. I'm gonna double check if we didn't import or export something. The only thing that we would have changed, well, not here, or in our test fixtures, setup script. This is important. It is imported correctly, and everything here seems to look good, unless here we're not exporting it, but we shouldn't have to export it given that we're using a script setup. Whereas the only other option that would have to do here is to create a separate instance in here, and I don't necessarily want to have to do that just for this, because we already have this here, and I also don't even remember how to do the composition, the options API way. I think this is export default. I don't remember exactly. Let's go to view. And go to the options API. Okay, I find out a component example. Oh, there we go. So I was on the right track. So let's see if this makes any difference. So I'm just testing this to ensure that, at least just to see if it works as expected. And then we'll just save that. There we go. All right, let's do let me check the package.json command. Okay. So this is a pre-pack. So yarn pre-pack, because that's the one that was just run here, and then we start having the issue. Let's do that and see what we get. All right, so we're still getting the same error. That means what we're doing doesn't fix the problem, and it seems like it has something to do with this module here, the module builder. All right, go here. When in doubt, sometimes you just reset it. So I'm gonna clear that out, and ls all, and I'm gonna remove some of these stuff. I'm gonna remove the yarn lock, the node modules, and what else? I think that's it. So we're gonna do a yarn install, and I'm gonna do a force. And as we can see here, definitely is an issue here with the module builder itself. Let's go ahead and do a the pre-pack again. Yeah, so as you can see there, now it works. So I'm assuming that it may have just been some cache related stuff in the node module, so maybe it wasn't updated properly, or the yarn.lock file or something, but there we go. So now it's working, so we can go ahead and do our final release, and hopefully this time it works as expected. All right, so let's go ahead and set this version 1.1.12, and so I also need to open GitHub where I have it logged in, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna open that there, and this is our release note for the changes that we'd have just made. So our refactoring here, our chore changes, and that is pretty much it. So I'm gonna go ahead and push that up. All right, so I need to get my one-time password. All right, so enter that in. And now our change has been pushed. And now we can also just go ahead and publish this release here. And this now would be our latest release for our package. So we're at 3.1.12, and pretty much all we've done is just did some update our packages, major, minor, all of them pretty much. And we could go over to npm and also look at it over there as well. And this should be it. As you can see a few seconds ago, and that's it right there, our most recent release. All right, so that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.